Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to make your Prodigy run and operate better than a Staccato. Some disclaimers here, I am not a gunsmith, I'm not an expert. I did make a video on Prodigy upgrades previously, maybe a year and a half ago or so. That video's got a decent amount of views and a lot of people pointing out that some of the stuff I was doing was incorrect. And since then, I've learned a lot about 2011s. I've learned a lot about my specific 2011, tuning it, getting it to a point where it's reliable and I can trust it a bit more. Still, I'm not an expert, and so I just wanted to make that disclaimer before we dove into the video. This is a controversial topic for the 2011 lovers out there because some people would just say, buy a Staccato, buy an Atlas, you're far better off going the route of buy once, cry once, never mess with it again. I can't really speak to that. I haven't shot a Staccato, I haven't shot an Atlas or owned any of them before, so this is all I know. I am happy with where the build has ended up. It has been a long journey to get it to a reliable point. Finally, we are here and I am happy to share this build, share the things that I've done to it with you guys. This video is definitely for the tinkerers and for the people who love to play with their guns, fine-tune things, and kind of fully just customize it for their own needs. Having some skills where you're able to be handy, you don't have to have tons of experience, but just being willing to kind of get into the whole system. It's kind of a requirement for a Prodigy owner, in my opinion. I can't put product links in the description below for like the gun stuff, but I will put product names and prices on screen in the video. Prices are subject to change, so that's just what they are at the current time. So this video truly is just in the spirit of, if I can do it, so can you. I've learned everything I know from 2011s based off of YouTube videos and some people around me who are proficient in guns and were able to share some knowledge with me. This gun has honestly been a huge pain ever since I've owned it. And in my previous video, one of my previous videos, talking about my EDC, I did carry this for a little bit, just getting it to a point where I took off the mag well, did a custom cut to fit the Atlas EOS style magazines, so it was slimmer in profile. Did some modifications there to get it more friendly for carry, but in doing so, it was still super heavy. No matter how much stuff I've done to this gun, I could never compare it or trust it as much as I trust my Glock. I now EDC a Glock 48. I'll do a video on that coming up. The role in which I've kind of seen my Prodigy serving has changed a little bit. And unlike tools that require a lot of time, money, and dedication to fine-tuning things, I want to mention today's sponsor, Aura. They're a tool that simply just works for you. After this video, I would encourage you to do a quick online search of your name, and you might find that things like your name, your home address, your health records, your relatives, other sensitive information might not be as private as you once thought. It turns out that data brokers sell your information to spammers, scammers, and anyone else online or in the world who could have every intention of targeting you. That's why I've chosen the sponsor of today's video, Aura. They've revealed just how many data brokers have my information, and they automatically submit opt-out requests on my behalf. Aura not only reduces the amount of annoying spam that I get, but they also help protect me against the real risk of hackers being able to hijack my social media accounts, my bank accounts, and other really personal information. A recent story you guys might have heard of is that AT&T recently announced or revealed that over 73 million of their customer accounts and data affiliated with those accounts, both of current customers and previous customers, had been leaked on the dark web. AT&T recommended for those affected that they use strong passwords, monitor account activity, look into credit freezes and fraud alerts from the credit bureaus. Well, Aura does this all for me. And best of all, I don't have to reallocate my valuable time just because a company decided not to keep my information safe. If my info was compromised in the AT&T breach, I wouldn't really have to worry because I know that Aura is always on, always protecting me. Here on the channel, I'm not usually an advocate of outsourcing you and your family's safety and protection, but I think the digital world is a completely different animal, one of which I know very little about. And so that's why I would just rather trust the experts over at Aura. I value my privacy, and if you value yours, I would encourage you to go to aura.com/KoreanMarksman to start your free 2-week trial today. The link is also in the description below. First, let's talk about the Springfield Prodigy and what issues come with it right out of the box. Mine is the Generation 1, so I got my Prodigy like right after they released them. They have made some changes to some fitment and hand fitting stuff. Apparently the safeties are better fit on like the later generation ones. but this is kind of universal for all of them. First, the parts inside are metal injection molded. Cars and even airplanes use MIM parts. They're easily mass producible, and they're pretty strong depending on the process that the manufacturer goes through. But because they're surface hardened and not forged, I'm not a metallurgist, so this is just what I have learned. They're not really meant to be fitted and futzed around with after the fact. Some MIM parts might last a lifetime, but some might not last you very long at all. Another issue is because they're MIM parts and these are just production guns, they're just pumping them out. They don't have very many man hours behind them when it comes to hand fitting. Things like how the round feeds into the chamber, how the slide mates up to the frame, how the slide reciprocates, and how the trigger pulls. There's gonna be some performance left on the table. Lastly, the coating is Cerakote, but it's done, in my opinion, quite lazily. It wears quickly and it's so thickly applied that it actually does slow your gun down a decent amount. Additionally, 2011 magazines are truly a science, one that Springfield has not yet figured out. The springs need help, the follower could be better, and the geometry of the feed lips, nothing has truly been optimized for this platform. The ergonomics of it out of the box aren't terrible, but it could use some fine tuning, again, if you want to really take advantage of more performance. The gun is very cheap for being a 2011, so it has that pro, but you might want to do a few things before trusting your life to it. Some people will inherently never trust a gun they have to modify, but again, this video is for the tinkerers. For improvements, we're gonna kind of go over comprehensively what I've done. This list is in no comprehensive order, although I didn't do all of these upgrades at once, and if you want to know how these individual upgrades are going to impact the way your gun operates and works, you might want to take it one at a time just so you can address if doing one of the upgrades might have messed things up instead of improving things. First, in the mainspring, I lowered it to a 17-pound mainspring. Essentially, that impacts the force of which the hammer will come and strike the firing pin, but also the amount of energy required for the slide to reciprocate and recock the hammer. When I did this, I started having more light strikes than I normally did. Even with the stock mainspring, stock gun, I would have a decent amount of light strikes too. What I did to address that is I put a Dawson extended length firing pin, and I've never had a single light strike ever since. I followed along with a lot of Atlas's 2011 tuning videos, so I would highly recommend the stuff that they've done. I used it to custom tune and fit my recoil spring to where it's heavy enough and heavier than it probably needs to be, but I wanted extra heft for reliability's sake, but it's not so heavy that it would cause the actual recoil system to break. Additionally, I've got the Atlas toolless guide rod, so I can easily take down the pistol without having to use an Allen wrench, which has been great. With the magazines, I did buy some Staccato mags, but I have been using the Duramags that just ship with the gun, and they've been fine after I've done some adjustments. I cleaned them out, made sure everything was clean inside. You do have to clean them pretty regularly, and then I installed Atlas's plus 18% power magazine springs. They do recommend using their followers as well, but I used the stock follower, and just the spring upgrade in the mags have made them reliable for me. I haven't replaced the extractor. It's an internal extractor. I took it out, and I used, again, Atlas's video to tune it. It took a while to get it to where it needs to be, where it's not too loose, not too tight. It's got that Goldilocks spot. I erred on the slightly tighter side because it is gonna loosen over time, but reliability with the extractor has been great. I installed the Atlas trigger shoe and bow. This isn't necessarily a reliability must, it's just an aesthetic, and it cleaned up the way that the trigger pulls for me. It feels a lot better. I like the flat face, but they also do, Atlas has curved faces as well. It did require some fitting with a file to get the trigger to actually fit inside of the grip module. For the sear spring inside of here, I used an EGW sear spring, hand tuned it with the help of Atlas Gunworks tuning videos. I put a Brazos Pro disconnector and sear in. Their Pro line of parts for 2011s are awesome because they're pretty darn hand fit. For my Prodigy, the tolerances of those parts fit perfectly, and I didn't really have to do any tuning with them after I got them. They're as close to drop-in as parts kind of can be. I removed the front sight. That's not reliability-wise, I just have a huge dot, and I would rather keep that window clear. One of my viewers recommended that I DLC coat my slide, and more specifically that I go with DNA Firearms. They offer coating services for tons of stuff, but their DLC coating for a slide in particular is very, very, very affordable. They get it done really fast, just in a couple weeks, and talking with their customer service line, all of the information I needed to send out the slide was quick, easy, painless. They did an awesome job. They threw me a little creator discount. I still did have to pay for the service, and if the DLC coat didn't change the way the gun actually fired and operated, I wouldn't be as excited about it, because DLC versus Cerakote, the thickness of the coating is far less with DLC, meaning that you're gonna have less friction, less wear, and your gun's gonna be less slowed down by that super thick Cerakote that we were talking about that Springfield applies when you sandblast the slide, strip it down, and apply a DLC instead. Also, the finish is just harder, it'll last a lot longer. I would honestly say that the DLC itself has been the single mod that has transformed reliability for this firearm for me. So if you had to go with one upgrade, I would just say go with the DLC and then go with the magazine springs. That's 2 upgrades. Lots of other things I've done to it have been like some PVD for aesthetics, a Plague comp from Skip's Guns. He's awesome. And I really appreciate the attention to detail that he did with my compensated cut. Technically it's a port, but it looks like a comp. Threw on a Dawson Magwell TLR1 HL light, have a Siley Bull X Pro optic on there, but none of those modifications are necessities for improving reliability or making the gun run. The tuning of the sear spring, I tuned it slightly heavier on the trigger pull, just for reliability's sake, so that my hammer would cock back reliably every time, and I wanted more slightly of a defensive trigger. It's still the lightest pulling trigger in a handgun that I own. And I have the Glock Performance trigger that's like 4.5 pounds. My Sig Sauer is probably at like 4 pounds. If I had to guess, I would say this is probably at 3.5, 3.7 pounds, give or take, somewhere in that ballpark. It's pretty light, but it's also heavy enough to where I don't have to worry about the hammer not fully cocking or doing a half cock and then weird things happening. Now that we have the end result of all of the tuning, all of the upgrades, I'm so happy with this gun, and I would have spent a lot more money, and some people buy a Staccato, but then they swap out all the parts with EGW and tune it with like Atlas stuff. To me, I would start out with a more affordable platform and then upgrade the heck out of it if you're going that route. This gun is super accurate, it shoots really flat. It's not the worst to conceal, it's very heavy, so it kind of bears down on my back after a long period of time, but it is a fantastic home defense pistol and plinker range toy. Just remember, these aren't Glocks, so as far as maintenance go, I'm gonna lube the gun whenever it looks dry. I'm gonna clean it every 1,000 rounds. I'm gonna try and clean the mags every few times that I shoot out of them, especially if I'm shooting outside and I drop them in sand. You should replace the magazine springs once a year. You should replace the recoil spring every 5,000 rounds. I'm gonna try and clean the extractor channel every 5,000 rounds. But as far as maintenance goes, I think that's kind of about it. I hope this video has been helpful in showing you guys how to upgrade your Springfield Prodigy or just any other 2011. I mean, you could do the same things to a Staccato, but in my opinion, by doing these things to my Prodigy, it outperforms a Staccato. Although I'm not qualified to say because I haven't shot one. The alternative to doing it yourself and futzing through it, stumbling through it, it's been a 1.5 years long, maybe a 2-year process for me to get it to where it needed to be. And to be fair, part of the holdup was finances, so I would have preferred to just do everything all at once. But the alternative is that you can send it to someone like Scott over at Skip's Guns, and he can do a reliability package for you, and it's just done quicker. It's just gonna be a little bit more expensive, but you know that there's a guarantee behind the work that's been done, and Scott's fantastic to work with. It just costs a little bit more, and you won't be as familiar with the anatomy of your pistol, so that to me has been a pro. Even though the pain of watching this gun hiccup and fail and not work, I feel a lot more in tune with the pistol now. I feel like I know it. I know its insides. That's kind of nasty. It's kind of like wrenching on your own car versus sending it to a mechanic. That's kind of what we're looking at here with a performance pistol like a 2011. Whichever route you guys go, whether you buy a Staccato or an Atlas, or you want to just do some work on your Prodigy, just remember to handle your firearms responsibly and make sure you're complying with your local laws when you're modifying your weapons. Stay safe out there, guys, and have a good one. Thanks for watching.